Hello everybody, welcome back. This is an Unemployed Gamer once again. I'm here with my short and simple review of my top Nintendo 64 games. Top 10 to be exact. And the Nintendo 64 was one of my favorite systems of all time. So many good memories, so many classics. These games just are very special to me. They held a special place in my heart. And I know there's so many classics out there, but these are the ones that I remember the most. So let's go straight to the point here, my list, and I'll go with number 10. And number 10 is Duke Nukem 64. And I bet you guys didn't think I was going to put Duke Nukem 64 on my list, but I have fond memories with this game, believe it or not. Not the PC version, Saturn, or the PS1. It's definitely the 64. And at the time, the graphics weren't the prettiest, I admit, but they were still an improvement from the other consoles. Everything got improved, even the frame rates. Special bonus level exclusive on 64. And even though the 64 version was censored, it was still fun to play. Had a cool story mode with co-op mode, which I used to play with my brother a lot and my friends. Controllers got a little bit weird at first, but once you got the hang of it, it was great. But yeah, the best part though, I mean, it was definitely the multiplayer. 4 players could duke it out. And I mean, this game can give you hours and hours of fun. My brother and my friends actually became very addicted to it. And it was one of our favorite games on the Nintendo 64. Sometimes I'm surprised people are not talking about this one. But yeah, definitely Duke Nukem 64 is very underrated. And definitely one of my favorite games for sure on the Nintendo 64. So we're gonna go with number 9, and number 9 is of course WCW versus NWO Revenge. And if you listen to my last episode, you probably would know that I'm a big wrestling fan. And this one is gonna make my list, yes, because it was back in the day. It was a revolutionary game. It pioneered, had a really awesome grappling system. And all the moves were there, all your favorite wrestlers. By today's standards, probably the graphics aren't the greatest, but back in the day, it was beautiful to our eyes, so I'm not gonna lie. Wrestler selection was huge, over 60 players, but the best part, again, like a lot of Nintendo 64 games, 4-player multiplayer. And once you got those controllers, hard to let go. Even if you weren't a wrestling fan, trust me on this one, it was easy to pick up. It was simple and it was fun. You wouldn't let go of that controller. WWF games were better, but I'm gonna list Revenge because this is the one that started it off for me, and it gives me my best memories and my favorite moments playing with my friends. So Revenge is definitely on number 9. Number 8, Pilot Wing 64, and what a game it was. It was incredible, one of a kind. This game was supposed to show off the Nintendo 64 graphics, and it did exactly that. The graphics were beautiful, music was flawless. To me, this game still holds up, believe it or not. I still consider it one of the most unique games on the Nintendo 64. And actually owned it. It was one of my first games. It had so many modes, so many secrets you can find. You can hang glide, you could use a jetpack, you can skydive, cannonball, and a lot more. The game will keep you playing for hours and hours. The replay value was just so high. Pilot Wing 64 uniqueness makes it definitely one of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64. Number 7, Star Fox 64. Of course, Star Fox is on my list. I was a big fan of the Super Nintendo version. When the game launched, went straight to Walmart, bought it, and it was about $80, and it was worth every penny. That summer, I was mowing lawns, so it's definitely worth it. The game was amazing from start to finish, memorable characters, and incredible voice acting. Amazing for back in the day in a cartridge, and a dozen of catchy phrases. For instance,
never give
like
up.
these.
Trust your instincts. My emperor.
Beautiful. The graphics were jaw-dropping for its time. The first time the Rumble Pack was introduced, as you know, it's now implemented in every controller, and at the time there was a pioneer. Speaking of the controller, it was amazing to use that damn controller for that air wing. 4 players though as well, and it was a blast. We played it for hours and hours non-stop. Star Fox 64 was a masterpiece, still is. One of the best Nintendo 64 has to offer. And there were sequels, but nobody really topped Star Fox 64, to be honest with you. And number 6, GoldenEye 64, the pioneer of the first-person shooters on a home console, of course, and it makes my list. Back when first-person shooters were meant to be played only on PC, because all the other games that came out on consoles were awkward and didn't make sense. GoldenEye came, they changed history forever, because not even us ever played first-person shooters. But after GoldenEye, we were instantly hooked. Rare did an amazing job, but where the game shined, even though the one-player mode is awesome, the story mode, four-player multiplayer again was the best part of it. So many modes and weapon, and all the possibilities were endless. I didn't even go to school sometimes just to play this game with my buddies, and I'm not even joking. GoldenEye 64 was one of a kind. We played it for years and years, to be honest with you. This is a masterpiece, and thanks to this masterpiece, later we got Halo and many other amazing first-person shooters on consoles. GoldenEye 64 is definitely a masterpiece, and it's the king of the first-person shooters. And then we're gonna move on to the next one, which is gonna be Mario Kart 64. Of course, you knew Mario Kart was gonna be on here. It's one of endless classics. And the Super Nintendo version was definitely one of my favorites. But when they announced the Mario Kart 64, we were excited. We saw the finished product, and wow, it blew us away. We rented the game for a couple of weekends till we finally said, let's just buy it. This game's too awesome to let go. Graphics, control. But again, what Nintendo 64 did best was a multiplayer, 4-player split screen action. Probably this game was one of my most played games while growing up. Anybody can play it. It's real simple and it's damn fun. Battle mode was my favorite. Very competitive, of course. Mario Kart, definitely it's on my list. More came in the future, but I don't think none of them top Mario Kart 64 for me. I think it's still the best in the series. And we're gonna move on to the next one. Super Smash Bros. 64. You guys, of course, knew I would have this on my list. Sorry about that. I was just looking at the intro. I love the intro. Anyway, back when it was released, it was one of the most popular games. It sold about 3 million units, if I remember correctly. And it's by far one of my all-time favorite games. Of course, it was gonna be on my top, right? The fighting engine was like no other. This wasn't your typical fighting game. What made it special, all the Nintendo characters for the first time were going at it. Single player was fun, the bonus levels were fun, but again, where Smash Brothers shines is their multiplayer mode. Up to 4 players, classic Nintendo songs, classic stages from Nintendo. You can use items. They were really unique. Even Pokemon came out, guaranteed chaos and mayhem. I made friends for life playing Nintendo Smash 64, so it holds a special place in my stupid little life. I still play Smash Brothers till this day, but none beat the version of the Nintendo 64 in my opinion. This is the one that started it all, and every time I play it, I get nostalgic, and I remember Super Smash Bros. 64. Okay, moving on. Majora's Mask is the next, and it's one of the greatest Zelda games of all time. For me, Majora's Mask is one underrated game, and it boggles my mind that more people don't talk about it, you know? And in my opinion, I think Link came back better than ever. It was a lot nicer, the textures, the graphics, thanks to the expansion pack. By the way, it required it to play it, but it made sense once you got to see the game. The music, like always, was amazing. Zelda theme was back, and the replay value was just nuts. Yeah, all the side quests. My favorite part was collecting the mask and looking at the powers it would do. Definitely one of the most original Zelda games in the series. Holds a special place in my heart. Amazing game. Always come back to this game from time to time. Check it out again. I always notice that I missed so many things back in the day. Definitely one of the best. Next one on my list, you got it, Ocarina of Time. And that would be on my top 3, of course, because it's a endless classic, or timeless classic. This game changed the world. Well, at least it changed my world. The worlds were huge. It took 40 plus hours to beat. The graphics were breathtaking. The fighting target system was superb. Storyline, characters, music, and the puzzles. The puzzles is what made this game magical, in my opinion. I've never experienced anything like it. I had moments where I literally got goosebumps just the first time I rode Epona, for instance, or when I beat Ganondorf. I can't remember a game that made me teary, and when I beat it, this game impacted me so much that after this game, Miyamoto became God. It was truly a masterpiece. Finishing the game because it gave me a feeling a few games have made me feel, and it will forever be one of the greatest video games of all time. All right.
It's me, Mario. Hello.
You knew this was gonna be it, didn't you? There you go. Well, this is the greatest game of all time for me, for the 64, and probably of all time.
It's me, Mario.
First time I heard those awesome words, that was it for me. And I used to watch him on the TV show Nintendo Mania. I followed this game, bought magazines for it. I waited patiently for the release of the Nintendo 64. Mr. Miyamoto's creation was probably going to be the best yet, all I can think of back then was Mario 64, running around stages. I couldn't stop thinking about this game. When it finally came out, my brother and my dad got me the game for my birthday as a surprise gift, and what a gift it was. It was the best present I could ever get, because Mario 64 was everything they promised. It was revolutionary. It was a pioneer. It was a true achievement. Probably had my best moments playing this game. The Nintendo 64 joystick worked so perfect. Mario can punch, fly, do wall kicks, turn into metal, become invisible, among other things. Graphics were amazing, one of its kind. And whenever you control Mario, you got a true sense of satisfaction, like you were actually there. It was the first time platformer was done right. Miyamoto, genius. We went countless days without sleep just to finish the game with all 120 stars. And I'm not even joking. I love Mario 64 so much that when I finally finished the game, I literally cried. And just thinking how amazing the game is, this makes me feel nostalgic right now, kind of made me feel happy and sad inside at the same time when I beat it, and any game that can achieve that kind of feeling needs to be at the #1 spot, game of all time. Anyways, thank you, the Big N, but especially thank you, Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, for making such beautiful games, but especially Mario 64. I'll never forget my Nintendo 64 days and all the excitement and all the fun and joy it gave me and my brothers and my friend. And this was among my favorite moments in my super little life, indeed. Thanks for watching. Until next time, or until I find a job. And that's all for me and my short and simple review. Get busy living and have a good one.
Thank you so much for playing my game.